that's where genetics, like that's where true genetics will take into effect, you know, either in a good way or a bad way.
Yeah.
You know, we get a lot of dogs that are purebred that are genetically a mess. And we get a lot of
like the elusive white German Shepherd.
Yeah, white German Shepherds.
All right, we're back. We're up.
Yeah, welcome back to Ridgeside Ec Radio with Mike Swarchek and Greg Hunt, myself. Today, topic of the podcast is 5 red flags when picking out a dog from a breeder.
Oh, you could have done 5 red flags for picking out a partner. And been like, well,
we could go into that next. I never avoid the red flags though, so
no. Red flags can be entertaining.
Yeah,
until they're not.
Good value in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're gonna do 5 red flags when picking out a dog. This can apply to rescuing a dog at any age, but in particular when you're looking for a brand new puppy, like you know what you want an 8-week-old puppy.
Yep.
That's your goal, is to raise a dog. So this is what to look out for no matter where you're getting it from. The first red flag is not having a health test provided from wherever you're getting it from, whether that's a pet store, a breeder, the side of Walmart. Not having a health
gas
test. Gas station.
No, that's definitely huge. Even if it's a reputable breeder or a rescue, there should be some sort of documentation that the pup has been looked at. Mm-hmm. And most of that stuff's genetic too. Like when I was doing prospecting, picking out police dogs or military dogs, like we spent thousands and thousands of dollars doing our own health testing because of all the fraud in like the import world. Right. No shit, I've seen the same x-rays for 2 different dogs.
Oh,
like,
shit.
This is the same x-ray, serial number, the same thing. And they're like, oh, it's just a mistake. And I'm like, no, you're just shady as shit. But anytime that I've bought from like a stateside breeder, there's usually some sort of health testing or health guarantee on the pups. And your people that are breeding dogs and doing it for the right reasons because they love the breed, whether they just fell in love with their own dog and they want to continue those genetics, or they're like advocates for the actual line of dogs and they're doing it. Every single one of those breeders has, you know, contracts or whatever agreements. And if the dog pops for some sort of a genetic default or gets sick, every single breeder that I've ever dealt with is like, yeah, absolutely, bring the dog back, or you can keep the dog and we'll give you next pup, whatever it may be. But they take that genetics and the health of their dogs as top priority.
Absolutely. Like it's pretty serious, you know, and it's just one of the things to look out for. I didn't know what health testing was. Like I'm one of the less educated dog people that would have like been like, oh yeah, I didn't even know health testing was a thing. So it's definitely something to look out for. You know, if you're listening to this and you're in that market, or you know someone in that market, like as we go down the line, it's just things to look into, just to educate yourself on that.
Yeah, especially if you're going to a breeder and you've decided, you know, you want to invest in the assurance of the dog. Like you don't want to rescue, like I'm buying a dog for a very specific reason. You want to make sure you're getting what you're paying for. Because a lot of, you know, with the trending breeds or prices for puppies, of well-bred puppies, you get what you pay for. Absolutely. A lot of times, outside of the shady people who are just like, especially in French bulldogs, there's tons of idiots.
Jacking the prices up for...
Yeah, just because it's a French bulldog.
Right.
But you just have to pay attention, do your research.
The second red flag is much more of a bigger one. There's going to be 2 I think that I have ranked here that are pretty big, is sending the dog home before 8 weeks.
Yes.
Sending it home at 6 weeks.
I think we've heard, the youngest I've heard since doing sales is 4 weeks.
I'm pretty sure, it was like 6 months ago, that guy at the side of the street where all the trainers found, he was like pushing him out at 4 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Absolutely.
And like from a practical standpoint, the reasons that the dogs need that, nourishment aside from, like, you know, sometimes there can be some medical reasons you would separate a puppy from their mother. early on, whether she's not well or like she's just not caring for the pups the way she should. But let's just put that on the back burner and say everything's going the way it should go. Like they need that nutrition and development from mom to set them up for success. But then plus all of the social learning they learn from mom and their pups as a litter mate, like is invaluable. And that stuff, like we really can't teach them because they've already been through that critical learning phase that helps them generalize stuff on the back end. And that's time they'll never get back. But I would say, and this is anecdotal, but most of the behavioral problems we come in with, like reactivity, socially awkward dogs or aggressive dogs outside of genetics, like they're probably a dog that was taken away from a litter way too early.
Right.
And then they're nervous, they lack confidence, they don't know how to behave. So yeah.
It definitely makes it a lot harder working with it, or it just makes it a longer, more patient process because like it's so ingrained in their tiny brains that like they just never got that, so they start developing those bad problems at too early of an age.
And I honestly think 8 weeks is too early. Like if I was gonna do it, I would wait 10, 12, 14 weeks just to give the dog as much of that learning time up front as possible and make it as healthy as possible. Like as long as it's still going to nurse with mom, like I would just push it.
I'm not saying I know people, but I know people who want to do that with Boykin Spaniels, but at the 5 month mark, even keeping dogs till they're 5 months.
I'm all about it.
And like have like a fully puppy trained.
If they know what they're doing and know how to do it, and it's not like a cash grab.
They're gonna invest their time and effort into thinking about it, but no. Long-term goals.
Yeah.
But
I mean, when you look at like, so Rich out who owns Ridgeside NorCal, he has like a 2-year waiting list for police dogs. Jeez. And the reason is because he hand raises every single one of his police dogs. So he gets these very young pups, raises them in a house, like they're super social, super neutral, and they get world-class obedience before they even get pushed out at like 2 to the police K9 guys.
I was going to say, throwing in a bonus here, a green flag for picking out a dog is if they have a waiting list. Like if you're looking for a dog and it's 7.5 weeks and it's available in 4 days and you can get it right then. Yeah. Not that that's a red flag, but a green flag would be if you're looking for an Aussie and you find an Aussie breeder and they say, oh yeah, we have 3 litters planned.
And they're all spoken for.
Yeah, and they're all spoken for, so you can get on the back end of it in a year and a half. Like, that's a incredible green flag if you're looking for a dog.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Reverting back to the red flags, what to look out for is litter mates. I probably see 4 or 5 clients come our way a year that are litter mated dogs.
Yeah. You have a pair right now?
Yeah.
I think in training now there's, out of all the trainers we have, I think there's 2 or 3 pairs currently, just right now. Why is that a red flag to you?
So and
then I'll go on my rant.
There's a lot of things like behaviorally that 2 dogs from a home can definitely develop certain tendencies in either direction. But the main issue is when it's 2 dogs from that young stage again, when they're with each other throughout that first 8 weeks and they go home together, there's a lot of developmental dependency that they have on each other. In some extreme cases, I know like there's, aggressive tendencies that can come out of that. And then on a lot of other sides, it's very lacking confidence. It's like 2 very big extremes, getting dogs that just aren't developing independently from each other. And a lot of times, most owners aren't prepared to do like great kenneling schedules and great, training and, good puppy raising, essentially. Like not every dog owner is a great puppy raiser. Yeah. So when you combine that with the developmental properties of 2 litter mates, it just doesn't lean in well to their development, essentially.
Yeah, there is science behind it, but it's sibling syndrome is effectively what it's called. But I kind of compare it to like a child using a pacifier to fall asleep, right? Or, an easy thing to do as a parent, and I do this, we did it raising our kids, is like they throw a temper tantrum, give them a pacifier.
Right.
Right. But that all of a sudden they develop this like insane psychological dependency on this stupid piece of rubber to either help them control their emotions or fall asleep. And then when you take that away, the amount of stress that the child has to work through just because they like need this thing, right? And you take it to an extreme level. Luckily, my kids weren't like terrible about it. Like the first couple weeks going to bed was tough just because they needed it. But there's kids that'll get into like self-destructive behavior, bite their fingers, chew on themselves, and like to the point where they're bleeding just because they have this codependency on this thing and they don't know how to function. So we see it in dogs when if you don't build in that mechanical separation of them and they you know, for lack of a better term, can learn to be comfortable in their own skin and work through life without, you know, their litter mate by their side, then they use them and they're dependent to get through life, right? But if you do that, you can prevent the back end of, or like a world of problems just by building in some separation. I did this pair of Weimaraners one time. They're funny. They were both
They're
like
funny as is.
yeah, they were tough, like extremely tough. Both of them 3 years old, litter mates. Shouldn't like
That's a long time. That's a rough case.
They had never been on a leash. 3 years old, never been separated. Sent both of them to training with me, and I would say the first 3 weeks, like I could not separate them because they would go into such a panic where like panting, super stressed, heart rate elevated, like they were going to give themselves a stroke. Eventually, we were able to work through it, you know, seconds at a time. But even if I would take one out to go to the bathroom in the training yard without the other one there, even if that one was working with the trainer inside, like they would see the other one leave and the world would end. And there was nothing you could do to bring that dog back. That's how strong their codependency was. I mean, they're still not great, but that's some stuff you really can't undo once it's there.
I'll say 3 years is a long time to run with that.
Yes, absolutely.
The two that I have are about 6 months old, so it's like day by day, getting into the first week now. It's definitely a stronger level of independence is growing now, but it's nothing fun that you want to put your dog through, and that's what a lot of dog training in general is like. If your dog has anxiety, it's not fun for a human to have anxiety. It's not fun for a human to have a panic attack. Yeah. So when you're doing things that either reinforce your dog to have a panic attack constantly, or like if your dog's always bouncing off wall to wall, screaming at this and that, like your dog is having an anxiety attack. It's like, it's not mentally a fun thing to deal with.
And just as a caveat, that's not saying that having siblings cannot be done.
Correct.
You have to do it the right way.
Yeah. And you know, and that definitely applies for.
I'm just trying to get ahead of some of the comments that'll be like, "Well, I have 2 dogs and they love each other."
Oh yeah, and it goes for any of these red flags. Like what we said, no health tests under 8 weeks. Our Drake went home I think at 6 weeks.
Yeah, well, he also swims underwater, and I think he pushes those limits a little too far. So he may be oxygen deprived.
Yeah, I know one or two of my other dogs don't have health tests. So, like, as I'm looking at this list, this isn't like a we're better, pinky out kind of thing.
Yeah,
we don't do this. Like,
there's a couple of ones that are probably not on that list that you could be like hard no.
Oh
like,
yeah.
When you're on the side of the road and you see like 10 puppies in a wire crate on a Saturday morning, like
that's a hard no.
I wouldn't. You couldn't pay me to take one of those.
So that kind of ties into the one that I have is no online or social media presence. It's again, if in combination with all of these, like all 5 or all 6 of these red flags, like combined, like that's a hard no in itself. I feel like the no online presence encapsulates those roadside. Yeah, because like I know that the one big one in our town doesn't have an online presence, doesn't have a Facebook, doesn't have an Instagram, doesn't even have a website. Yeah. So like it's only a Google location essentially. And a phone number.
And that to me, and sorry to cut you off, but that shows that the people aren't doing it for the right reason. Right. Like they're just doing it as a cash grab, and they probably run it as a cash business so they can avoid taxes or whatever and be shady. But the true people that love the dogs, love the genetics, and do it as a business, they do it 100% the right way.
Right.
Not that you have to have a social media presence, but like they're proud of their work and they want their work to speak for itself. And in all reality, social media is the easiest way to do that.
Yeah. And like, for like not using like every legitimate breeder had to start somewhere.
Sure.
So if you have 2 really, really good dogs and you want to breed them and you want to get your toes wet in it, you're not going to have a social media presence. You're not going to have reviews and all this stuff. You're not going to have a big website, but you're going to health test the dogs because you care. You're going to, ensure that you almost vet the people who want your dog, like doing like either in-home checks sometimes, or like, sometimes breeders will do background checks.
Yeah.
Not like a full FBI panel, but like they'll do some sort of background check on where their dogs are going because they want to make sure, like, do you have any other dogs in the home? Do you have kids? Like, is this going to be a suitable thing? Like, am I sending this Aussie or cattle dog or collie into a home with 4 under 10-year-olds that are looking like, a flock of cattle running around? Like, is my dog going to get returned to me because it bit, one of your kids because you didn't understand the dog you were getting, essentially?
Yeah, I mean, that was actually pretty cool. One of the Malinois puppies that I'm doing lessons with now, they had to get a note from me as like a pre-screening, like, hey, we're getting this Mal puppy. And she said, that's fine. You need to secure obedience training and some sort of work-related training and have that trainer write me a letter saying XYZ.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so like, especially with Malinois and stuff, like, I fully respect that trainer and like what she's doing. And I don't even know if it's a she, but they absolutely care for their product, and it seems like they take like each puppy, I'm sure, is a member of their extended family, and in reality, like, I've seen a lot of Malinois puppies over the years, whether it was bred for specific work or stateside, like backyard bred shit that we deal with all the time here. She obviously cares about her product because it's one of the nicest Mal puppies that I've seen in a very long time.
That is awesome.
So
that's a green flag.
Yeah,
green flag.
Green all the way around.
If your breeder is making you seek out training or seek out something like that, I think one big thing that kind of encapsulates it all is not so much the red flag, but kind of a talking point on this is the difference between purebred and well-bred.
Ooh.
So a purebred,
Yes.
A purebred dog is, generations back, German Shepherds on every side of the family line, breeding with each other. That's going to be a purebred dog. If you hear the helicopters and the skids coming in, we're under attack.
Yeah. The Texas Civil War started.
Oh my God. Pack your bags.
Yeah. I mean, this will probably be released right, so who knows? Maybe I'll hit the nail on the head, but for those of you watching at home, Texas and the government have a little bit of an issue they're working through right now. We don't do we may end up doing politics. Who knows? Who cares? Anyways.
Comment, let us know.
Yeah. Purebred versus...
Yeah, purebred versus well-bred. So purebred is that, you embark test them and they're 100% German Shepherd. They're 100% American Lab. But that doesn't mean they're well-bred. And, that's where genetics, like that's where true genetics will take into effect, either in a good way or a bad way.
Yeah.
We get a lot of dogs that are purebred that are genetically a mess. And we get a lot of...
like the elusive white German Shepherd.
Yeah, white German Shepherds, Silver Labs. Yeah. Which...
Oh, you're going to make people mad with that. You mean the Lab Weimaraner?
Send it. Yeah.
You bring up a good point. Like, obviously, if you have 2 purebred German Shepherds have puppies, they're going to have puppies and they're going to be 100% German Shepherd.
Yep.
But to me, like, I don't care about that portion of it. I mean, obviously, if you want a purebred, you want a purebred. But to me, the hands down most important thing when you're breeding a dog for either a pet or a working line dog is the temperament, right? Because that it travels down genetic lines, but the temperament to me, especially for pets, is that stuff you can't work through, right? Like the German Shepherd that I have now, that was a dog that I took back after training because it was just too much dog. Like, he has a very low threshold of, like, he gets very defensive very quickly. And I'm willing to bet his parents did the exact same shit, right? And that creates headaches for me every single day, because if he has it in his mind that he wants to do something, he will do it. I'll tell him no, and then he gets very pissed off very quickly. And it doesn't have to be anything like crazy. Like, if I'm petting him and he doesn't want me to pet him anymore, he'll get pissed. And he's a mess. Yeah. I mean, he's really well bred. Like, he's a purebred dog, but he, in my opinion, not well bred.
Right.
And you see this all the time with, the German Shepherds we get. So aside from temperament, health would be another thing. Like, especially in the German Shepherds that are extremely overbred.
Show lines, or are you talking about with what?
Either. Like, the German Shepherd breed has been watered down and trashed since the 70s in America. Like, America as a whole, we are really good at destroying dog breeds.
We do that to a lot of breeds.
Yeah, 100%. So, and we're doing it to the Belgian Malinois as we speak. Not everybody, because I just spoke highly of one, but for every one nice American-based breeder, I have seen 20 trash ones.
Right.
But health, huge, absolutely huge. So, temperament. Now, I think we talked about it earlier. There's another red flag that we can hit on, and I may segue or jump around the list. But if you go to a breeder and you ask to see the parents and they tell you no, I would turn around and leave right there.
Absolutely.
Because there's a reason they're hiding the parents from you. They're either not social, they look like crap, you can tell they're malnourished or mistreated, or the dog has extreme amounts of behavioral issues. What are your thoughts on that?
No, I 100% agree. If, like, there's nothing that should be hidden, and I feel like that's what a lot of, like, roadside dog mills get away with, is that, like, it's instant transaction, same day, you see the dog, I'm impulsive, I want to buy that. Yeah. And there's no time for questions, there's no time for backgrounding any of this kind of red flags that we've been going over. And that's what this whole thing is about, is to let you know what questions you should be asking, what questions you should be, looking for. And you definitely want to know who the parents are. That's the number one thing that's on any, big social platform that has, or any breeder on a big social platform. Yeah. Their big headline of that 1x1 is the two parents. Yep. It's the two parents, and then you have all the information about what those parents did, because, like, then that gets into the well-bred side of it. Like, mom was, champion 5 times over in X, Y, and Z. Dad was, show line, this, that, the other thing, like, competitions for everything. Like, they have great performance reviews, essentially, and then the expectancy of their litter is a lot higher. Yeah. Like, even Paisley, like, our last boykin that we got, didn't come from any sort of grandeur lines. She has a few health issues that, like, we're looking out at, but that's one of the things that we're gonna be looking towards in the future.
Yeah, and, like, just to clarify, like, what that means is, like, she's not a sick dog, right? Oh, no. She just has the potential, or she's the carrier for,
I think it's IVDD.
I have no idea what that means.
It's like
I'm not an astrophysicist.
Someone's gonna yell at me. It's in invertebral disc disease or something. Her spine's gonna give out eventually, maybe, possibly. Yeah. And, like, her back could be paralyzed. Yeah. But, like, we're doing a lot of health stuff on the front end of that. A lot of
she's jacked as a pup.
Yeah, we're getting her yoked. We're getting her healthy, or joint supplements all the time. Obviously we'll never breed her. Like we would never be able to breed her, because we don't want that to pass, on to another dog. Yeah. And it's just one of those things where, like, it sucks because if we did want to breed her, or it sucks that, down the line we might have to deal with something.
With her specifically, like, she has the perfect temperament. Like, a great dog. Like, if she was healthy, I would 100% breed her for, if you wanted, boykin pups, or wanted to continue on her line of genetics. But being a responsible owner and not doing that because she has that trait or the potential to carry that trait, like that's preserving the breed and the genetics, and not a lot of people do that. Like that's hip dysplasia in shepherds is a perfect thing.
Oh yeah.
And those like slanted back things that they call German shepherds is
their show line.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, those are just people who breed for looks and aesthetics rather than like the true embodiment of the breed.
On the whole looks thing, another green flag, I guess, if we're just throwing some stuff out there, another green flag is if your breeder doesn't allow you to pick your dog.
Ooh.
And while that might be like well, I'm not going there, scoff, like I want to pick my dog. I get that. I'd want to pick my dog too.
Yeah.
But there are breeders of like multicolored dogs, like red and blues or whatever it is, where like you can't pick your dog because it shows the breeder that you're not interested in the drive, the temperament. You're interested in what it looks like.
Yep.
And like, those are more working line, more like very heavy working dogs that they won't let you do that on. That's like 10% of breeders won't let you pick it, but that's a big green flag. Like, you're gonna get the dog that we've temperament tested for your home.
And I'm sure you have to fill out like evaluations about your lifestyle and stuff. So they're gonna temperament test the pups, the best that you can. Because even I've tested I don't know how many thousands of pups, and just because it tests really well when it's young, when it grows up, it can be completely different. Talking about workability and stuff, but your lifestyle, they're going to pick the pup that best suits that for you.
Right.
No, those are great points. Love it.
Yeah.
Are there any more red flags that we came up with, or are we wrapping this one up?
I think we're wrapping this one up. There's a lot out there. Just basically get educated on it. This isn't.
And stop buying dogs on street corners for fuck's sake.
Yeah. We can go, like, we could keep rolling with like leading it into pick the right breed for you, but we've done that a little bit and we'll probably do that more. But when it just comes to picking out where you're getting your dog from, ask the questions, think about it. Don't impulsively, car shop. Don't impulsively dog shop.
Oh,
look
come on, Greg. I impulsively car shop. I have a problem.
Yeah, I'm impulsive with a lot of things, but like education's important. So that's what we're here for, educating the masses.
Man, I'm excited for that breeds episode to drop.
Yes,
because so many people are going to be mad.
If you're watching this now, go back and watch that episode. And then comment on both of them and let us know.
I don't think the breed went out yet, is it?
That's what I'm saying. Like when they're seeing this, it'll already be way later.
Oh, that's true. I forgot.
We're in the future.
Damn it. We're still new to this. All right, we'll wrap this one up. You can hit us up on all the social platforms.
RSK9NC.Greg, RSK9 Training Supplies.
Ridgeside K9 Eastern Carolina, Mike_Swartschek. Leave us comments. Let us know what you want to hear us talk about.
Yeah.
Or if you want to be on the show, even let us know. Who cares?
Yeah. Please, feedback's important. We enjoy doing this. We hope you all enjoy it. I actually had someone at the store today mention that they saw us in the podcast. So
you're famous.
Yeah. Send a comment saying, hey, I watched your podcast.
Yeah.
I saw you in person.
And subscribe. Hit that little notification button that alerts you when the new episodes drop. All right.
I know I'm notified.
We'll see you on the next one.
See you.